seems to be another Islamic terror attack, there was this kind of lull, at least in Europe. The terror attacks seemed to stop all of a sudden, and at least for a period of 3 or 4 weeks, the terror attacks appeared to stop when Ramadan ended. Now, Tommy, surely there's no connection, given we know Islam is a religion of peace and that it has nothing to do with terrorism. So why did the terror attacks in Europe suddenly seem to stop when Ramadan ended, given that there's no connection?
We see this every year. We see, what's it called, the Ramadan bombathon. So, which you see the figures coming through daily, and they excel. We see most attacks as instructed during the holy or unholy or very violent month of Ramadan. But you're right, they have basically come to an end. But as saying that, we have had 5 attacks in the last, I think, 3 weeks, which were all stopped in the coming minutes just before they were successful. So I don't think it's through one, but you are right, it has as far as you look at it, they've completely stopped in comparison to during Ramadan, which when we saw a wave of them, didn't we? 3 in 3 months in the UK.
Exactly, and as he said, I mean, it happens every year, proving again that connection. Obviously, if there's a wave of them during Ramadan, there must be some kind of connection. Surely there was a kind of lull. It seems to have ended today with what's happening in Hamburg. The BBC's barely reporting on it. Sky News wasn't even reporting on it last time I checked. Another thing that they seem not so keen to be reporting on, Tommy, is we had a mob rampage in Liverpool recently, which was, you know, as plain a hate crime as you will ever see. Numerous people attacked in the street. We're all supposed to be really concerned about hate crimes in the aftermath of Brexit and in the aftermath of terrorist attacks. But Tommy, why is the BBC not reporting on this? What is it about this hate crime that seems to have prompted the left and so much of the mainstream media to ignore it?
And let's have the details as well of this crime. The details are young Muslim men. They stopped a Muslim man. They said to him, "What religion are you?" And he said, "Muslim." They said, "Say the Muslim words." And he said, "There is no prophet but Muhammad." So then they left him. They walked on. They stopped the next man. "What religion are you?" "I'm Christian." Bang. They violently beat him. His girlfriend tried to stop them. These weren't just hate crimes where it was a group attacking a man. They're attacking men who were with their partners, with their girlfriends. One of the victims, this is where we see Stockholm Syndrome in Europe. One of the victims was a Labour councillor. Now, that Labour councillor, he put out yesterday saying he's not happy with the way it's been reported, because the headline read, "Muslim mob attack non-Muslims for being white."
Completely accurate headline, completely accurate.
Completely accurate when you hear the details of what's happened. He wasn't happy with that headline. He was the man that's been beaten up, one of the men that's been beaten up. But these men went through the streets attacking and attacking and attacking. And thankfully, the first Muslim man that they stopped, he'd rang the police, because in his mind, they were asking him, is he Muslim? Because if he wasn't, they were going to kill him, which is what they went on to do. They went on to attack. And the reason why this plays a part for me is Liverpool, 1% of that city is Muslim. I get told by so many of my friends who live in Liverpool, Muslims could not get away with doing that in our city. When they talk about all the things that are happening. Well, I found shops that were being used for grooming in Liverpool, in Birkenhead, where they were raping the young girls. Now we see these sorts of attacks. Now, just imagine, which I say to people in Liverpool, Luton has a population that has 30 times more Muslims in percentage in the city than what Liverpool has. Look what's already happening. Look what's already happening. And you're right, this is a hate crime that no one spoke about. The only hate crimes we hear about is a dirty look on a bus or someone tweeted something offensive. And if that was the case, those sort of stories go completely viral. We all see them go viral whenever they happen. I think this has only been reported originally in the local newspaper until people have picked up on it and it's got out now.
Well, of course, we had
Muslim families, because this is what it is, families, men and women, were stopped walking home and asked, "Are you Muslim?" And when they said yes, they're all violently beaten. Could you imagine? Imagine that it wouldn't just be national outrage, it would be international, it would be worldwide. Everyone would be talking about it. But again, and if I draw another time, for example, what happened with myself recently at Ascot, where I was followed and I was harassed, and then in the end I was attacked and I defended myself. That story, if you look through the media, I mean, like every single news outlet, even in Ireland, in Wales, in Scotland, from the top down, from the national newspapers to the local newspapers, to the Luton Gazette, to the Luton News, to the Dunstable Gazette, to the Merseyside Gazette. Every single newspaper run that headline with that 17 clips of footage, which should show me in a negative portrayal. Yet go online, find any of the footage of Muslims instantly attacking me in unprovoked attacks. They're never shown anywhere. So again, we know ourselves, and your viewers know as well, there is a complete agenda. There's a complete agenda to hide the truth, to lie, and that's what we're seeing.
And going back to what you talked about with the Stockholm Syndrome, the Labour councillor was viciously attacked while he was with his girlfriend. As he said, he came out later, decried the headline that accurately reported what happened. It reminds me of when a woman on a train, I think it was in Austria or Germany, back about a year ago, she was raped by migrants. She refused initially to even report it to the police because she said, oh, they've had a difficult time getting here, therefore maybe me being raped was just, part of their therapy. Maybe it's racist to report someone for raping you, if they've got brown skin. That is the level of Stockholm Syndrome that we've got to right now. But I want to go on to talk about another story, Tommy, which came out yesterday, and this was in Birmingham. Sky News reports teenage rape victim raped again by driver she flagged down. So she was raped initially. She flagged a driver down for help, and she was raped again for a second time. Both are described as Asian men in their early 20s. Tommy, should we be on the lookout for Japanese people, Chinese people, South Koreans? I mean, what on earth does Asian mean? Why do they keep using that politically correct term?
Especially your viewers in America will be so confused by this. So they would be so confused. Anyone from outside the UK, obviously, we've grown up knowing that Asian they refer to as Pakistani, as Bangladeshi. That's what they're referring to. But for anyone else thinking, you wouldn't realise that, you wouldn't know that. And that's done on purpose. That's done to demonise and broaden who it could be. We know who it is. I could put my life, I could put my house on the fact that both those men are Muslim men. Both of them, if they were described accurately, would be described as Pakistani Muslims. Accurately, not Asian.
They're still on the loose, Tommy. Not describing them accurately is helping them escape arrest after they've raped this poor 15-year-old girl.
Anytime you read in the media 4 attackers and they don't give a description, that means I know what that means. As I'm reading any story, half the time now they don't even give descriptions. Someone's been beaten up or someone's been robbed, and the 4 men run away. Okay, what do they look like? Why are you not telling us if they were white, you tell us what they look like. Why are you not giving us the descriptions of who they were? And that's exactly the same in this situation. This is Birmingham. And to people, when you read a story like that, I was talking about yesterday, someone would think that, where did that happen? Baghdad? No, that happened in Birmingham. A young child was raped. It's like
absolutely amazing, Tommy. We'll get back into it after the break. Yeah, she was raped twice within the space of 30 minutes after flagging someone down for help. She was raped by him as well. That's the situation we've got in the United Kingdom. They're all being protected through political correctness, as happened with Rotherham. We'll be back with Tommy Robinson. Don't go away. We are live. It is the Alex Jones Show. We're here with Tommy Robinson, author of Enemy of the State, but he also has a new book out, which I think came out today. It's already skyrocketing up the charts on Amazon. Tommy, tell us about that new book, because it's basically an explainer on the Quran, as far as I can tell. Obviously, I haven't got my hands on it yet. But what's the new book about? What motivated you to write it?
So what the book is the Quran in chronological order. That's a chronological order, not that I'm giving, the Islamic scholars have given. So when you put it into chronological order, so it's like 2 books. It's a 10,000 word introduction, which explains to us the great lie, how we've all been lied to. What you realise is, and what people feel so betrayed about, is that up until September 11th, the elitists, they told the truth throughout our history about Islam. If I quote you now, which I do in this book, if I quote you Winston Churchill, the Mohammedan religion increases the fury of intolerance, propagated by the sword, the hopes of plunder and the joy of fighting. The religion of blood and war is face to face with that of peace. Luckily, the religion of peace is usually the better armed. Now, in this case, amazingly, the religion of peace means Christianity. It's not the lie that we've now been given. That was by Winston Churchill, so he's a previous world leader. If I give you another statement now from an American Prime Minister, who said, the precept of the Quran is perpetual war against all who deny that Muhammad is the prophet of God. The command to propagate the Muslim creed by the sword is always obligatory. When it can be made effective, the commands of the prophet may be performed alike by fraud or by force. That was John Quincy Adams, 6th Prime Minister of the United States of America. And what we do in this is we bring you through in the introduction, and we tell you how we've been lied to and when the lie started, and everyone who's told the lie. Well, we refer to it as the Great Lie. Now, when you get to the Quran, due to abrogation, anyone who doesn't know about the ordinary Quran, when you pick up a Quran and you try to make sense of it, it's not in any chronological order. What Muhammad said one day could be next to what he said 20 years, which is what enables Muslims to give the out of context argument all the time. And this lie that Islam is a religion of peace. What this does, it puts it into chronological order. And because of abrogation, what Muhammad said later in his life is earlier in his life is superseded by what he says later in his life. What this does is now when you open the Quran, it's the first one ever where we've done it back to front. So when you open the start of the Quran here, the first thing you will read is the last thing Muhammad said. And it will be very clear to you. We've done it in bold writing. So as you get to all the words of violence and war are then in bold writing in the chronological Quran. Now, when you get to the peaceful verses, because anyone who knows Muhammad, in his first 10 years of his life, he was quite peaceful, yeah? All the war, all the rape, all the jihad was introduced later. So when you get to the peaceful verses, which now are at the back of the Quran, it's actually their Quran word for word, but the words are at the back. They'll have a little line through them when you get to the peaceful ones, and they'll just have afterwards cancelled by verse 2160. So they'll tell you which verses cancel them out due to abrogation. You'll then go to the verse to read what cancelled it out, and you'll fully understand why when you read all the rape and the war. The idea is that non-Muslims like us, which is our biggest job, is getting people to understand this lie that we've been told. And when you see it and understand that